Hi folks, Rick Berube here. We are doing, obviously, once again, Facebook Live, and this time we have a tremendous guest in Moss Roberts. And let's face it, I mean, her team has been usually in the top one or two for years. Last year, they think they slipped to three, but always in the top three, which is tremendous. I mean, we have over 1,100 agents in Nevada. It's just amazing that you guys do that year in and year out. So thanks for coming today. I really appreciate you spending some time with us.
Thank you for inviting me, Rick. I'm very excited to meet everyone here on this webinar.
All right, cool. So let's talk a little about that. So, you guys finish up there all the time, and I know that you guys have a tremendous team. So tell us a little bit about your team and how you do that, and a little about yourself. Introduce yourself to everybody, too.
Yeah, so when we first got on board with Berkshire Hathaway, the first year when we took over, Diane Tonneson was doing $40 million. And then we took the company all the way up to $100 million in sales in about 4 years. And the reason why we were able to do that is because we generate a lot of leads online. So mostly there are buyer leads.
Right.
But then from being a buyer leads, a lot of them become seller leads. So, and that's the reason why we're able to recruit a lot of agents on our team. So currently we have about over 35 agents on the team. And, in real estate, I'm always recruiting agents. And then basically, we don't micromanage our agents. We just basically give them some parameters, and then, they work the leads. And then if they don't, we take it and give it to somebody else.
Recycle them. Yeah, I love it. I love it. No, I think it's great. And I think, I think everybody needs to hear what you just said. So you guys came in, you bought the Tonneson team. It's still called the Tonneson team now. You took it from 40 million to 100 million in gross sales, okay, in just a few years, right? And a lot of that is due to your systems and how you do things. And I know that you say, you make it sound like your buyer agents have free reign, but I know you guys they have goals, because I've talked to them a few times in the Success Center myself. So they have parameters they've got to produce. You guys are giving them high quality leads, right? So they've got to they got to be on it.
Yeah, they got to engage with the leads. And I'm a believer in that the leads are only as good as the agent converting it. So
right.
You still have to hustle, because a buyer that comes into our website are also talking to other realtors, all over Las Vegas. So you really have to, get your skill level up,
right,
in order to then convert those into your clients, basically.
Right. Right. And that's a very good topic, and we're going to talk about that as well. But before we get into how we do it, all right, and a buyer broker agreement and all that stuff, because I think that's really important. Tell us a little bit about, okay, so you guys, incredible job, 40 million to 100 million, and it's just amazing how you guys did that in such a short period of time, systems and so forth. Also now with the COVID-19 thing going on, how are you guys faring through all of this?
Every time my seller or the buyer will ask me, how's the market? Should I wait? Should I not? I always see opportunities. In real estate, it's all about relationships, and right. You have to see what the market is doing. And I often also, it's also about mindset, right? 90% of what we do in real estate is mindset. So I try not to watch the news as much. And so when buyers or seller ask me, is this a good time to buy or a good time to sell? I always shift it in the way where, if there are buyers, it is a good time to buy because interest rates are dropping. And then if they're a seller, well, the market condition right now, just, it's so volatile because it's so unpredictable, right? So, but if they wait, for me, is I'm just focusing on, where they want to move next with right. sellers.
Their motivation.
So I ask questions that will help me get the sale, but also managing either the buyer's expectation or the seller's expectations.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is you dig deep, ask questions, find out their motivation. And if their motivation makes sense to move now, then waiting's not a good idea. And if and if some people can wait, till spring or whatever they want to do. I mean, obviously that makes sense too, right? Because you need a pipeline as well.
Yeah, and then right now, because we're a buyer agent team, these buyers are percolating. They're still going back to the site, watching, and then, they need somebody like a strong realtor to kind of guide them. So that's why your skill level matters in this industry.
That's what you get paid for, your skills.
Yes.
You already have the best name brand on the planet, Berkshire Hathaway, and then you add skills, what comes out of your mouth, critically important, right?
It's very important. And when I go for listing appointments, even though, of course, I leverage my Great Las Vegas Homes website, but I also leverage Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
I talk a lot when I go to my listing presentation. I talk a lot about the buy side, and I use that as leverage. And most of my sellers are very, very impressed with buy side. The ability to market to other Berkshire agents, not just my team, but all of Berkshire Hathaway in the system through buy side. So that has been a really helpful way for me to get a lot of listings.
That's great. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I talk about the buy side all the time. It's a tremendous prospecting tool. It's a tremendous listing tool. I mean, it looks really good. It's all Berkshire Hathaway marketed up, so it makes you look good, and it's everything going on before it even goes in MLS, right?
Right, and you have that coming soon, which actually Berkshire Hathaway started it first with buy side, and before the MLS implement that. So that was actually my selling point when I met with sellers. I told them about that coming soon features, and I get listings from that.
Right, that's awesome. I love it. That's cool. Now, okay, so I want to ask you this question, and that is, well, before I do that, I want to ask, you mentioned skills, and we kind of talked about that a little bit. You also mentioned mindset. So don't listen to the news, but can you give them any other tips to keep their mind, because I know you have a strong mindset. How you keep your mindset strong, even with all this craziness going on?
Oh my gosh. So if I tell you about how I go through life with my mindset, I don't know whether you guys are going to be laughing at me or you're going to think it's over on the deep end. But I think, a lot of people with their mindset block is because of forgiveness, meaning that they're always comparing themselves to other people.
Right.
So for me, at least with myself, with mindset, I always learn to forgive others and learn to forgive myself every day, because when you're talking to sellers or buyers, you're going to get rejections, or you're going to get people, slam on the phone on you or whatever, right? Rejection is part of sales. And then so if you take it too personally, then you'll never be able to sharpen your skill. And then when I say about forgiveness, I talk the mindset wise is because then you're not comparing yourself to everybody, because with real estate, it's really about relationship. And that's why I build relationship with other team leaders as well, because I don't see other team leaders as, it's healthy competition, but we're all working towards the same goal. And that's the reason why I'm able to, oftentimes in a multiple offer scenario, I'm always able to, 90% of the time, I always win multiple offer scenarios because I built relationship with the listing agent. I actually pick up the phone and talk to the listing agent, figure out what she wants or he wants and what the client wants. And then I match it to my buyer and write the offer in a way that will help me win the offer.
Nice. I got it. All right, cool. Yes. And we don't think you're crazy. Don't worry about it. People think I'm crazy too once in a while, but I would rather be crazy than normal. All right. Normal does not sound attractive to me.
Yeah, I'm the mindset queen, 90% of the time, again, it's mindset. Everything is mindset. That's why I don't watch anything that is negative. I protect my mindset, because once you get into, all this negative, then you cannot go forward. Everybody get like scared, or they get like frightened, or they get like not knowing what to do. But the first thing of business is just picking up the phone, calling your SOIs, build rapport. It's a simple thing, but you just have to keep going.
Yeah, yeah. Fear is not, and that's why I don't watch the news either, because right now it's spewing fear, and it's really bad for your mindset to be in fear. I mean, should you be safe? Yes. Should you wash your hands, wear a mask, wear gloves? If not, yes. But should you run around in constant paralyzation by fear? No, definitely not. Okay, and your clients. I mean, look at you watch the numbers, Moss. The MLS is cranking back up. It's getting back in. It's not quite back into the gear it was in early March, but it's headed in the right direction every single day. Okay, so you mentioned, that in a multiple offer situation, a lot of times you end up with it. I know that you work with buyers and they work with you because you are the queen of getting the buyer broker agreement signed. All right.
Yeah.
Now, in a state, as a matter of fact, all three of our states, Arizona, Nevada, California, about 10% of agents get them signed. You get one signed every single time. And I know because I hear you talking to your team about it too. So tell us how you do that. They want to hear.
Oh, it's really simple. And again, it goes back to your mindset. It goes back to your value because you have to protect your time. But it comes to, I call it servant heart leadership, right? So basically what I do is, as you all know, a lot of the leads that we get is from the internet, right? They're from, California trying to buy in Vegas or Arizona or New York, right? So we use a lot of technology to get in touch with the client. So when I train my agents, I say the first thing that you do is pick up the phone, call them, and build rapport. Mm-hmm. That's the number one thing. Build rapport, asking them questions, building rapport, why are they thinking of moving to Vegas and all that stuff. Now, after you ask a lot of questions and they start to know, like, and trust you, then what I would train my agents to do is to set an appointment, to set a business appointment. So the first conversation is just building rapport.
Right.
But after you build the rapport, I ask them a question: would you like to learn about the Las Vegas market? And typically, of course, they say yes, right? Because they want to know how Las Vegas market works. Then I say, okay, what time will work for you? Tomorrow at 9 a.m. or Wednesday at 5 p.m. And I make sure that both husband and wife are together.
Right.
And then they would be in the webinar with me like this, because I do a lot of BBAs over the internet, actually.
Yeah.
So using the technology, using transaction desk and make them sign the BBA right there. Nice. Because they're usually from out of town. And then, so do you want me to continue?
Yes, please. No, please do. No, I love the way you're saying it. You have a rapport building. You get in rapport. Why are you moving? What's important? You go through all the what, when, who, where, why questions. You build rapport. Then, once you're in rapport, we're having a conversation. Then you turn it to business.
Then I set an appointment to talk about the Las Vegas market.
Right.
So they know it's going to be about business, but it's not awkward because I've already prepared them for this business conversation that we're going to have. And this conversation that we're going to have is about the Las Vegas market, but I turn it around to make sure that it's about them.
Right.
So even when I talk about we're the number one team in Berkshire Hathaway and Simra's office, blah, 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 and then, or the top 3 teams in Berkshire, Nevada, I always say in a way that I'll turn it around and make sure that it's all about them. Right. It's not about me. It's not about my ego. I always turn it around to make it about them.
Yeah. So you feed it back. So you want to move and you're looking for this and you'd like that and here's what, right? So that you just carry that rapport even further. And then you get it signed and they work with you.
Yeah. So during the Las Vegas, when I talk to them about the Las Vegas market, so I have a very specific way that I talk to them about. So the only thing is my strategy of doing this BBA requires the agent to be on top of their stuff. It's not a lazy way of getting BBA. It's hard work, meaning that most of the time everybody that my clients would sign my BBA in 5 minutes. They're like, okay, when can I sign? Because what I say is I say something like this, right? I say in 2000, I can't remember when the RPA was changed.
Mm.
And at that time, everybody was complaining about the RPA was changing. But I saw that as an opportunity to focus more about the buyer, because at that time when the change, it was focused more about the seller. So what I did was I said, well, when the RPA changed, it kind of helped more of the seller, but my job is to protect your interests. Now, when it comes to money, I never say the word protect, okay? When it comes to money, I always say the word prevent. So what I would say is my job as your realtor is to prevent your earnest money deposit by being at risk. And then I explain to them the timeline. So there's the first timeline. So for example, I would say something like, if you're purchasing a $400,000 home, typically the earnest money deposit is anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. Now that's a lot of money, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, right? That's a lot of money for them. And so then I say, let me kind of explain to you what I do in order to prevent your earnest money by being at risk. I never say the word protect. Okay, never. I can say the word protect when it's their interest, but then I go about the home inspection, and then the appraisal, and then the CIC resale package, and then lastly is technically the loan. But I typically don't explain that too much. But what I'm trying to say is, I say at any point of time, if you don't feel comfortable moving forward with the transaction, you let me know, and then we can send a cancellation addendum. But I'm always watching those timelines like a hawk.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I'm also coordinating with the listing agent, with the escrow, with the buyer. I'm always on top of stuff to make sure that when they work with me, I give them A-level service. Because once they become my buyer, typically 90% of the time, they will become my seller too.
Love it. Love it. So you're walking them through, I would call that the set the expectation conversation. You're walking them through, and what you're doing at the same time, boss, is you're creating the value for yourself. Because these are all these things you need to be concerned with, and my job is to prevent anything from going wrong. Right? I love it. I love it. It's great. Anything else you want to add to that?
I also talk to them about how I win multiple offer scenarios. So with multiple offer scenarios, I explain to them there's a strategy in winning multiple offer scenario. Okay, so I explain to them the strategy, how I win multiple offer scenario, and then they're very impressed that I know my stuff. More importantly is when I tell them about the multiple offer scenario, it's about your comps. So when they pick a house, I'm going to spend time on the comps to research if this is the right offer, and then, is it going to appraise, and then if there are other people involved, and then I call the listing agent, try to figure out what's the best way to make this work. Do you see what I'm saying? There's so many moving pieces, and sometimes it's not just about the money sometimes. So when I call the listing agent, I try to figure out what does the seller want. Is it they want a longer close-up escrow or a shorter close-up escrow? All these things I keep into consideration in terms of the terms.
Love it.
So you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. So you explain how you win multiple offer situations, because in today's market, it's very common. And as a buyer agent who knows the market, you're only going to show them properties that are priced right anyway, and the ones that are priced right oftentimes have multiple offer situations. I love it. So you are totally setting, now here's what I want everybody to hear. They're all focusing on, well, those buyer broker agreements don't hold water in court. I never got a buyer broker agreement signed because I wanted to get paid no matter what happened. I got it paid for everything that you just mentioned. These are all the things that are going to happen in order for you to win and get the property you want, and it requires patience, experience, commitment, and so forth. So you need to hire somebody to get that done, right?
Right. And I explained to them, when you work with us as a buyer agent, typically the commission is going to get paid by the seller. So technically, you're going to use my service for free, well, except for the $350 Berkshire fee, right? But I say to them, my time is valuable, and I'm very, good at what I do. And so if we're going to get into this business together, I would appreciate that, we work together as a team. So when they sign the buyer broker agreement, the way I explain it so well, then I'm not afraid if they go to what's it called, the builder. Yeah. Then I explain to them, Mrs. Buyer, I'm so excited for you to, I'm so excited for you to be my client. Here's what I'm going to give you. So here's a couple of my business cards. If you're going to go to new builder homes, just make sure you tell them that you have a realtor so I can negotiate for you. Right. So they love it when I say things like that. So like I'm negotiating for them. You know what I mean? Because I'm very skilled at what I do. So I also care for my clients. I'm not just going to make them sign a buyer broker agreement and then just leave them to their own device. I actually put in the work to help them.
Yeah, I can hear that. That's good. And I'm so glad that you explained it so thoroughly like that, because a lot of agents just don't understand. See, and I know, that, you and I have worked together, and I've worked with your team, and a lot of them have come through Success Series and so forth. And, I've been doing this for 35 years. I've been around since before buyer agency even existed. I know I tell people that, they're like, holy cow, yes, before buyer agency. And once it came along, it made the trend. But you have to explain why you're going to be my client, not my customer. I would never do that to you. You need to be my client, right?
Right.
So, and you have a very good way of eloquently explaining it and showing them what you're going to go to bat for them on several different occasions, which is great.
Yeah, because once you start building the rapport and they start to know, like, and trust you, and then you set the appointment, explain to them the Las Vegas market, then you explain to them the expectations of what they will get in terms of working with you. They appreciate it. And I also go into like the pre-approval process, why it's important, because I'm trying to think 10 steps ahead for them. And I explain all this stuff, so they'd be like, wow, you're really amazing. And they sign the buyer broker agreement in 5 minutes. Right. And sometimes, with my new agents, with the new agents, because they're not skilled in, knowing a lot of the moving pieces of real estate. So with my new agents, I would make them build rapport, set an appointment at the office, and then I come in and I close the sale for them. A BBA to us on our team is called a sale, meaning that it's counted as your income producing activities. Because once they get the BBA, it's just a matter of time. And then I train my newbies go from zero to hero, because they are being mentored by me. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. I love it because, it's funny. The reason I'm smiling is in my coaching, there are 4 contracts you can get signed: listings taken, listings sold, buyer sale, and a BBA. They're all contracts. They're all things you get paid for. Okay. When a buyer signs a buyer broker agreement, that means you're going to get paid for the work you do. And that's only half the equation. The other half of the equation is they've decided to use you. So all the other things that you mentioned about when they go to builders, you give them, they understand that because they've signed a contract. They've decided to use you. And that's the healthiest relationship in real estate that you can have, I believe.
Yeah, and if you don't explain to them, they don't know.
Right.
They don't know it. Like, for example, I had a new realtor that she would just work with this realtor, and that realtor never explained to her the process. And then she just went into a builder and bought. And then now that she become a realtor and I'm training her, and she's like, I didn't know that my past realtor never explained to me. Right. I didn't realize what I was doing. If you had set your client's expectation this way, they're going to trust you more, and they will actually not go straight to the listing agent. They will call you and say, hey, let's say Sally, hey, Sally, I like this house. Can you help me write the offer? They're not going to go behind your back if you have managed the expectation properly and you have demonstrate value. So that's why it's about your skills and your mindset. If you switch your mindset to being a servant heart leader and focus on your customer, not on you, but have a high level expectation of yourself and your time, then you're gonna, then real estate is gonna be more enjoyable for you.
Yeah. I can see why a lot of people want to work with you. You're confident, you're competent, you're natural, and people are attracted to that and they want to work with you. When you make it feel like this is the way it goes, I got you, I'm in charge, I'm going to help handle all the details, okay, it makes people feel comfortable because, like you just said, I'm putting a $10,000 deposit. That could go at risk, whatever. It makes people nervous. And when you are in charge and confident, not cocky, but confident, it really makes it go smoother.
Yeah, and they can feel it too
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
really taking care of your clients, and that comes from being a good person, not being commission breath.
Yeah, commission breath, right? You remember that one? That was good. Yeah, and we're getting a lot of comments. Michelle in Arizona, thank you, Michelle Bugiano, Christopher Prea, thanks, guys. So a lot of people, I can see all kinds of great comments. Christopher McGarry, all goodies. They love what you have to say, Miles, and so do I, actually. So, all right. So I know your time is valuable. You got stuff going on. So thank you very much for explaining that and giving us all the details. That was awesome and very, very good. Because remember, 90% of our agents, or I shouldn't say that, 90% of agents in MLS don't use that form. And I always tell them it exists. You can use it. All right. And I love what you said about protecting your mindset in today's market because that's critically important. And if you're going to work with buyers today, it's good to let them know, here's what I'm going to do for you, and that's why I expect to have this agreement signed. Anything you want to add before I ask you one last question? Anything you want to add about the buyer-broker agreement?
No, again, it's just a mindset shift. If you can focus on demonstrating value and then also protecting your time, mm-hmm. then it's going to be much easier because when you have a client-to-client relationship, you're going to work harder for that client. Because the heartbreak that people have in real estate is when they feel that they're being taken advantage of, clients making them show 200 houses and then they never get paid. Then they feel like, oh, real estate is not for me, buyers are liars, and all that kind of stuff. But if you do it in the way that I explained,
right,
then you're going to protect your time, and then your client is going to understand your value, and then they're going to treat you the way you want to be treated.
Right, I agree. And so now no one's asked this question, but I know they're thinking it because remember I'm pathic. So how much resistance do you get honestly when you present this way to get that contract signed?
So I had one buyer. It was a $600,000 buyer. Okay, so he was hesitant to sign, and I still make him sign. That's how good I am. The reason what happened was because he had a really bad experience with the previous realtor, and he didn't want to, get his heart broken again. So I said to him, so I make him talk about his experience and all that, right? Then I explained to him why I'm different, and then I say it like this: Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I understand that you had a terrible experience with that previous realtor. Here's 5 bullet points why I'm different, and here's what we can do. Why don't you just go ahead and sign the contract right now? But I'm going to put in additional terms. This contract shall be void for any reason if buyers are unhappy with my performance or my team performance. And then they still sign the contract. And right. I got a $600,000 sale.
Nice. That's good. Yeah. And, I can tell the reason you get it signed is you want them to decide to use you because you're going to do a lot of work for them. And then your confidence says, and if you're unhappy, I'll let you out. I love it. It's awesome. Okay, now, a little bit more general terms. Today's market with everything going on, you've already said a couple of them, but give them the 3 most important. Look, I want to take my business to the next level, or I'm brand new and I want to get in the game. What are the 3 most important things you tell them to focus on right now?
So if you're brand new, okay, go through all the advanced classes, right? What do you call that? When you continue your education,
CE classes.
CE classes, yeah. But then also go to your sales manager or find somebody at the office that is doing well. And then what I would do is is like, let's say you have a seller and you don't know how to close the sale. Get somebody who's a top agent or who's better than you, go to the listing appointment with you and show, and basically they close the sale. You get a small little tiny percentage of it. Maybe they'll get like, 70%, however you guys decide.
Right.
But the point being is, when you watch an experienced person close the sale, it'd be worth all the money that you're going to pay that experienced person, because he's going to be able to kind of navigate all the stuff that you, as a newbie, you probably don't understand.
Right.
So, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. So don't be afraid to ask for help and pay for an agent to go in and do a presentation or a negotiation for you, because that money you're going to spend will pay for itself time and time again in the amount of business you'll do in the future. I love that. That's a great piece of advice. Anything else you can think of?
And then also, put your ego aside and learn to leverage Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway has spent millions and millions of dollars. The Berkshire name is so well known in the entire, country. So leverage that. Use that. Even though you are a newbie, it doesn't matter. People don't really care. How do I say this? I'm trying to use it more diplomatically. Diplomatically.
I know where you're going, but go ahead. I want to hear it.
Sometimes people's ego gets in the way. So you have to learn to get out of your own self. Learn to leverage the company, the products, the tools that the company gave you, and just keep doing income producing activities. Income producing activities is calling people, and it doesn't matter whether you're calling expireds or fishbowl, whatever niche that you're doing. Keep doing it until you get good at one thing, and then get skilled in that skill, and then go find somebody that is a leader to help you close the sale, even if you have to negotiate a huge part of your commission to that person.
I love it. I love it. And what I heard you say about, so the experience is critical. Get some experience and have somebody help you. Second one is use the Berkshire Hathaway name. And as you know, in my success series, I call it, use the marketing. You don't have to change anything immediately. The only thing you have to use is your current picture. Now, I know, Moss, that's easier for me and you to do it because we're both young and beautiful. But everybody else, no, you can do it too. I was talking about her. Okay, not me. Anyway, so the point is that use your current picture. It's a crazy today what people use a picture that doesn't even look like them anymore. Okay? And you look, Moss mentioned the buy side. She also mentioned in the VAC, we have all kinds of tools for you guys to use, especially now, Maria Hill, and Gordon coming out with that whole, VAC 2.0. It's incredible. Okay, you guys should be definitely, using all those goodies. Okay, any last thought you have for them, please?
Last thoughts, just build relationship with other Berkshire agents. We're not in competition with anyone. The only competition that we have is ourselves. Yep. So, that's why I build relationship with other team leaders. I don't see, it's a healthy competition, but, it's not, how do I say it? Remove the ego and just do the right thing for your client, basically. And then as you build relationship with other people, your reputation is going to go up. The other party will say, oh yeah, I had this happen to me. So I had a listing agent that had multiple offers, and he said, oh, you should go with Moss Roberts with the Tonneson team because she's easy to work with over all these other realtors, because my reputation is I am easy to work with and I get shit done.
Yeah, I love it. She gets it done, folks. Moss, I just want to say thank you very much for taking your time out today. This was incredibly awesome. We're already getting incredible amounts of comments on it. So get back to doing your wonderfulness. All right, I can hear people. This is amazing. All right, Moss, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. We'll do this again soon. Woo!